Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and as you could tell, Dave's not here, and we've replaced him just for the week with Sarah Malia. And Sarah, you know, you're an offshore expert, but I thought it would really be cool this week to talk about fishing top waters. So we're going to start off with, you know, if you're a bass guy, a lot of times bass fishermen love to fly fish using poppers. So we have little panfish poppers here, as you can tell.
So cute.
You see those little legs? Well, those legs, as you pop this, Sarah, they're little rubber bands and they wiggle in the water, which is really neat. And then this particular popper is called the Ruoff Backcountry Chugger. Now, what's so cool about this is in both cases, both of these poppers have a concave type of nose. This is what we really want to focus in on tonight because it's simple. When you pop them, you're going to keep the rod tip down on the fly, and we're going to just make sure that we give it a quick, hard jerk, and then it gives us this chugging. Now, moving on into another category, then we have lures that we use for bass that simulate a shad, but it also has a propeller on the back. So it's not a chugging type of pop, but it's more of a gurgling sound, and you would pop this along the surface, and it would give a little sound of gurgling, and then you would pause for a second, and that's when the bass like to hit it. This is called the skitter prop because of the propeller. This is also a great lure for trout. Now, one of my favorite lures, which has a concave head and a real slender pencil type of design, is the chug bug. You know, and the chug bug has this concave head, and it makes a different type of tone. So a lot of times our chugging, which you're going to talk about offshore here in a second, depends on the depth and how deep it is. Now sometimes, like in this X-Wrap pop, you can tell this whole face is really big and concave. A different type of water comes off of it, but it also has a tendency, and it also has a tendency to pop and go down. But you know, one thing you need to understand, Sarah, is sometimes fish don't like it loud, you know, so you might downsize like in this little skitter walk. Now the skitter walk comes in two sizes, many colors, but listen, you hear that ball bearing that's in there? That's what makes the skitter walk the #1 walk the dog style of lure. Now, as I said, we sometimes run into problems because they don't want the noise, but they still want that little V-wake on the surface.
For the shy guys.
Yeah, and this is when you pull out the soft plastic. So you can have gurgling sounds like you get from this Bass Assassin frog, or you can have a gurgling sound that you would get from the paddle tail of this die dapper. In either case, you're gonna rig it weedless with no weight, like this little boss, and you're just simply gonna throw it out and kind of swim it back. Now I know that you spend a lot of time offshore, and that's where your expertise is. So let's talk a little bit about the offshore type of chuggers and presentations.
Well, Ling love chugging lures like the skitter pop or the storm chug bug that we have here. You just throw it past them or behind them, and you pop it and lock it hard with the rod tip down, and the bubble trail attracts their attention.
Right.
So also like tuna on the rigs and big redfish, they love the poppers, and they come in a variety of shapes, colors, and sizes. So depending on the species or the watercolor, for example, for tuna, I would recommend, like tuna offshore, I'd recommend blues and purples. But you just make sure you use the heavy duty snap rings and hooks like this Williamson Popper Pro for the larger fish.
Yeah, because listen, you go and hook a big yellowfin tuna around a rig with this, you're gonna really wanna put the pressure on them, you know?
Exactly.
Now, I'd say that one of the things that all of these poppers or topwaters have is, in order to get the maximum amount of action out of these lures, I suggest you tie it on with a loop knot. Exactly. A uni knot, a Palomar knot. There's a million different types of knots. You can Google loop knots of some sort. And then there's little videos that'll teach you those knots. But hey, man, you did a good job over here. Not bad.
Thank you.
Bree,
Oh,
we're done
cute,
popping
guys.
over here, man.
That was cute, guys.